Namaste and welcome. We're going to get started in a child's pose today. So go ahead and find your way to the center of your mat, where from there we can bring the knees comfortably wide apart, big toes come together, and we can start to settle back on those heels. So if we've got tighter hips, it might look like your hips are kind of more hovering in space, and that is absolutely okay. But yeah, we'll do our best to kind of sit back. Let those arms stretch out in front of us. Maybe the forehead and chest kind of melt down. And it's from here that we will engage our yoga breathing. So taking a fuller, bigger inhale through the nose. Maybe sighing out the mouth these first couple. Yeah, you might take one or two more sighs like that before eventually bringing breath in through the nose and out through the nose only. And as we take a few more rounds to just sort of exaggerate and elongate the inhales and exhales, letting them be bigger and fuller and more expansive, let's just take a moment to tune in to this grounded sensation of our child's pose. No matter where we are in our day or what's going on in our life, whatever might be kind of swirling around us, we can take a moment to drop into the stillness of this moment, allowing and inviting our awareness to really rest on our breath. And let's focus our practice on really consciously creating some decompression, making space around and through anything that is feeling a little tight or pressurized. And let's just commit to that for maybe the next 3 breaths before we get moving. Really just giving ourselves that gift of allowing for some spaciousness. So when we're ready, we can go ahead and rise up on hands and knees. Let's find our table pose. We can scooch those knees so they're more under hips. Let's start to cat-cow here. Let's inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin and chest. And exhale to tuck and round through the spine. Yeah, and we might find just a slightly different variation where as we inhale and drop the belly, lifting the chin and chest, we shift a little bit more over those wrists, just getting a little stretch with that flexion. And as we exhale and find our cat back, we can press into those palms and push those hips maybe a little bit more towards the heels, like our child's pose. Just kind of a different way to work the wrists. And as we take these kind of bigger full body stretches here, we might start to notice where in our physical body there might be some compression, some pressure, or feeling of like crunchiness or stuckness or tightness. We can just kind of notice that. And maybe we choose to spend a little more time on those places. Like, I don't know what's going on with my low back lately, but it's feeling like a little bit tender and crunched and a little tight, so we can breathe around any of those spaces that feel like they need it. Yeah, and let's just stretch the wrist for a few moments. So perhaps turning fingertips out to the side as we shift our weight a little bit side to side. Speaking of compression, I don't know about you guys, but I am typing a lot or scrolling or just like doing stuff with my hands all day. That tends to, create that kind of compression, that tension. So it's so good to undo some of that, to take some time to balance it out. We might even spin the fingertips facing our knees. Maybe that works for some of us. Or we can just kind of move in that direction. Being so gentle on these delicate joints, maybe we just softly bend the elbows a little bit. Oh, such a deep, juicy stretch for those forearms and wrists. Wonderful. And then I got one more. We can spin those fingertips back around and bring the back of our left hand down. So fingers again are going to face that knee. And same thing, we might just ever so gently shift the weight forward and back. Continuing to focus on that breathing, letting it be so full and big and nourishing. Yeah, and then we can switch sides. We can bring the back of that right hand down, fingers toward the knees. Little shift. Beautiful. Yeah, and then we'll come through center. And from here, let's extend that right leg behind us. Toes can tuck around the ball of the foot. And just by pressing through that right heel, we're going to get a nice stretch through the ankle, the calf. Again, making some length and space and room. Wonderful. And then let's spin that right heel down flat so that we can ground through the whole foot, pressing through the pinky toe side of that right foot as we lift that right arm to the sky. So we're balancing now on our left palm, left knee and shin. And we might circle around through the wrist here. Some of us might even like to circle that whole arm. And maybe as we pause and breathe here with whatever we're doing, we check in with our internal state as well as our physical one, right? Like, what is the state of my mind right now, my thoughts? Where might there be some tension or stuckness or pressure or compression, even emotionally, spiritually, mentally? And can I even think about breathing some softness and opening and space around those things too? Awesome. Let's use an inhale if we can to see about floating that right foot. So yeah, we're going to feel the muscles and balance turn on in maybe a more intense way. And this could be where we stay. If you're feeling it, I'll invite you to take 3 little crunches. Inhaling that right arm up overhead. Exhale, squeezing knee to elbow. Oh yeah. Inhale, getting nice and long. We got it. Exhale, squeeze it in. Nice. And then one more time. Big breath in. I'm feeling wobbly. Exhale, we're going to squeeze. Knee to elbow. Amazing. One more inhale to get nice and long. And then as we exhale, let's see if we can step that right foot all the way up to the top of our mat. We might even use our hand to scooch it there. Hands frame that foot. And I like to kind of scooch my back knee back a little further, allowing more room for the hips to kind of sink down. And from here, we might use our right thigh for support as we press ourselves up into a grounded crescent pose. So arms can start to float up to the sky. And let's just breathe here, squeezing those inner thighs together. It's going to help us kind of find support and balance. Deepest breaths here, just for a few more rounds. Maybe we can soften back, let the chin lift a bit, let that heart open. And then as we exhale, we're gonna bow over that right leg, allowing it to straighten. I always feel like I wanna scooch my right heel forward a little bit, melting over it into that half split. Life just kind of has a way of sort of naturally accumulating that pressure in us, right? Whether it's physical pressure or compression, mental, emotional, spiritual compression, pressure, tension, stress. And if we're not aware of it, if we're not noticing that, then we can't do anything about it. It's really good to just check in and notice how we're feeling on a regular basis. And if we are noticing any of that, choosing to do a little bit of work or take some action to soften around it, to undo some of that pressure and tension. Amazing. Let's take one more inhale here. And as we exhale, we're going to bend back into that front knee. Hands are framing that foot again. We're going to tuck the back toes this time, lifting that back knee. Left palm stays grounded. Let's inhale, right arm to the sky for our dragonfly twist. So same thing. We can always move around through the wrist or arm. I love to wrap that lifted arm around my low back. Something about that is just so delicious for opening my shoulders, my heart, chest. Like, speaking of compression, right? I'm sitting at a computer a lot of my workday, and oh man, my shoulders just tend to round and hunch. And so to kind of consciously choose, like, oh, I need to do the opposite of that. I need to counteract it by doing some opening, relieving that pressure and tension before I get, I don't know, like a hump. Not that there's anything wrong with having a hump. We can love it just the same. All right, let's release those hands back around, framing that foot. And we're gonna take kind of a bigger move from here. So first, that back heel is gonna spin flat. And then we're gonna find a warrior two. And if we wanna take a kind of flowy way there, we might press into those feet, feel strength in your legs, and float that left arm forward, all the way up and then behind you. Beautiful. Now all of a sudden we're in a warrior two, where we're spreading through the hips, up to a 90-degree bend in that front knee. Arms are wide. And we're maybe gazing off those front fingertips. I was just on a plane not that long ago for like 16 hours or something like that. And oh my goodness, just sitting there, right, has a way of creating that kind of pressure and compression feeling. And it was really natural, right? We might notice that in a car trip or anything like that, where it's like, oh, we just crave that lengthening stretch, moving around, creating some space, undoing that tension physically. Wonderful. Let's take one more breath here. Exhaling completely. Next inhale, we're going to go ahead and straighten that front leg and reach the arms up. We're going to see if we can grab for that right wrist with the left hand. It's almost like we're physically, gently pulling that whole right side open. Seeing if we can tuck the tailbone underneath us so we're not sticking our butt out too far. Just feeling all of that delicious space and length on the right side body. Beautiful. One more inhale. And as we exhale, keeping the legs as they are, let's once again open arms out to the side, and we're gonna find our triangle pose. So shifting our body forward, really reaching through those right fingertips. And when we feel like we've reached our max, we can just lightly float those fingertips down. They can land on the shin, ankle, wherever they do, as we pull that left arm up to the sky. Maybe turning our gaze to look at those left fingertips. Life has a way of creating some mental pressure and compression as well, right? Just with like our day-to-day activities. Maybe what's going on in our life or our circumstances right now, or what's going on in the world, right? There's sometimes a byproduct in the way that we feel, our mental state. It can get crunchy up there too. Continuing to breathe. How about just one more inhale? Maybe we can open that heart a teensy bit more. And then as we exhale, hands are gonna come down. Let's frame that foot once again, gently releasing that left knee down. And we can go ahead and stretch the right knee back too. Maybe we take a couple cats and cows. Maybe we open the knees wide, sink back in our child's pose, an opportunity to check in. It doesn't take much usually. That's the cool thing. Like, yes, we can accumulate pressure and compression and tension, but usually a little bit of undoing that goes a long way. Just a little bit of time breathing and moving and stretching can have a really powerful, lasting impact. It's so good to take this time. All right, when we're ready, no rush. We're just gonna flow through that on the other side so we can inhale back up through table pose, and we'll start with the left leg on this side, extending that That leg behind us, coming to the ball of the foot, thinking about really pressing through that heel, getting some length on the left side. Most of us kind of know, right? Some things that undo that tension and pressure. Things like yoga, right? Breathing, I don't know, going outside, playing with the dog. There's all kinds of research-based methods for relieving that stress and tension. Are we using them on a regular basis? That's the important question, right? Do we wait till we're about to snap to release that pressure valve a little bit? And if so, like, what would be the benefit of maybe being a little more proactive, like sneaking those things in when and where we can? Let's start to spin on that back heel. We're going to come to balancing on the right palm, right shin, left arm to the sky. We're pressing through that left foot, especially the pinky toe side. And this is where we can always add some movement. Maybe that wrap. Awesome. We're going to come to balancing if possible. Let's see if we can stretch that left arm to the sky, left leg floats. Maybe we reach that left arm up overhead. Are we up for those little crunches? Let's see. Inhale, get nice and long. Oh, whole left side body. Exhale, bringing elbow to knee. Just 2 more. We got this. Inhale, nice and long. Exhale, elbow to knee. 1 more time. Oh, squeeze. Sound effects are welcome. Let's inhale, get nice and long. And then that bigger move, let's see if we can step that left foot up between the hands. Nicely done. Hands frame the foot. We might scooch that back knee back a little bit. Did we do the hamstring stretch on the last side? I think we did, right? We're going to stretch that left leg long. I just feel compelled to be super honest with you here at Real Yoga that this is my second time recording this class because the first one didn't work. So now I feel all confused what I did or didn't do already because I kind of did. Oh, life. So I think on that note, the more interesting side of this theme, to me at least, is the mental, emotional side, right? Like, yes, we know that stretching and breathing helps and all those good things, and those are wonderful tools. Like, please use them. But lately, I've been focusing more on questions like, what is going on inside my own mind that is creating stress, tension, compression, pressure? Like, what role am I playing in that experience for myself? Oh, my left leg's so much tighter than the right one. So much more compression. That's so normal. Ooh, but I'm feeling a little bit more space. Maybe we can melt into it just these last couple moments. Beautiful. And then let's bend back into that left knee and start to crawl on up. We'll bring one palm on that thigh at a time and find our grounded crescent pose. Sinking hips as low as we can as we inhale, lift those arms up. Like, yeah, there's real stuff. I'm not saying that life is always easy and like a cakewalk, right? But also, when I really check in and am honest with myself, so much of the pressure and stress I feel in life, that compression feeling, is largely my own doing, right? It's in the way that I'm thinking, the things I'm getting caught up in, allowing myself to get swept up in, the pressure I'm putting on myself. The way that I am holding and narrating every experience I'm in, all of the things that I'm doing all day. Like, that's where our control is, usually. How about one more big inhale? And then exhale, coming into that dragonfly twist. So hands frame that foot. We're gonna tuck the back toes, ground that right palm, left arm to the sky. Beautiful. So for instance, when I recorded this already and realized it didn't work, my thoughts for a moment went to like, oh shit, oh my God, all that time I spent, whatever, like feeling a little frustrated by it. And that creates tension and stress and mental anguish and that like pressured feeling. Beautiful. How about one more inhale? We can open that heart, and then exhale, hands frame the foot. You ready to try that big move again? We get another chance. So this time we're gonna pivot that back heel flat. Feel the strength of your legs. Like get it in your mind first that we're gonna stand on those feet. Feel the strength of our legs. Float that right arm. We're gonna sweep it like a pendulum forward, up and back. Yay, we did it. And we're gonna find our warrior two. So again, we're spreading wide through the hips, pressing through the feet like you're trying to stretch your mat north and south. And we can gaze off those front fingertips. So I checked myself in that moment. I said, getting all frustrated isn't really gonna help, Kristen. The video's gone. And so what I did was take a couple of breaths, nourished myself with some food because she was getting a little hangry. And I did some updates on my phone. I tried to see what the issue was. I was resourceful and took some action, right? Calmly. And I switched my thoughts to, guess what? I get to do it again. I get another chance. I get to try to make it even better. Or I just get to show up and put my heart into something that I love again. Like how lovely, no big deal, right? Let's inhale, straighten that front leg, grab onto that left wrist. And guess what? If I didn't have it in me to record this again, who's to say I had to? You guys wouldn't have known. It would have been me putting pressure on myself to do it again. But I found I was able to make my way through it and get my head to a place where I had the room. It's no big deal. Right? Finding more ease, no matter what frustration or inconvenience or like stuff comes our way in life. There's a choice to be made. Let's take all of that beautiful length into our triangle now. Let's open those arms wide. Slide forward. Exhale, releasing. I hope this video is working. That would be funny if I did it again and it wasn't working again. Keeping it real. And maybe as we hold this triangle, we think about our own life, maybe what's to come today, or any kind of circumstance we're in. And we can ask ourselves, like, okay, there's certain parts of this I can't control maybe. What can I control? What kind of attitude and energy and thoughts am I going to bring to whatever it is I have going on? What would injecting a little more ease and space and flow look like? Inhale, let's open that heart. Exhale, we're gonna float it on down. We did it. We're gonna spin on those back toes. Exhale, release that right knee down, then slide that left knee back to meet it. If we need any little wiggles, we're welcome to take them. And then let's find that child's pose again. Let's let the big knees spread wide, toes come together. Maybe this time we flip the palms up. In what ways are we maybe putting unnecessary pressure on our own self? Another question I love to ask as much as I can to myself is this really a big deal, Kristen? Or are you making it a big deal? Do we need to feel all compressed and pressured and tense around this thing? Or is that something that your mind is doing? How do you want to experience your tasks, your day, these things that you're choosing, by the way? Amazing work. Let's start to come on up. We can flip those palms down. And let's just find our way onto our seat. So we can just kind of swing those legs out in front of us. Maybe we stretch them both long for a second, love a little bounce. And then we can start to bend the knees, bring feet to the earth, and start to find our way to lying down on our back, maybe grabbing onto those thighs for support. We did it. So knees can stay bent, feet on the earth. Let's stretch that left leg up to the sky, maybe grabbing onto the thigh. I just made a rhyme and I didn't even mean to. We can circle around through that ankle. See, I didn't even rhyme on the first recording, I don't think. This one is better. Who doesn't love a rhyme? How about one more inhale? Ooh, my leg's shaking. Let's exhale, cross that left ankle over the right knee, finding our reclined pigeon pose, making that kind of figure 4 shape. And this might be plenty. We might flex that left foot physically with our hand or just in our mind, kind of stretching that left knee forward or pressing it forward. Should feel a nice hip stretch. And if we want a little more sensation, we might keep those legs exactly as they are, but just pick up the bottom one and bring it more into our chest. So we can always wrap around, kind of sliding those hands in that little opening between the legs and grabbing onto that front shin. And let's maintain that breath awareness even as we're slowing down. We can't always choose what happens in life. We can't choose every aspect of our circumstances, maybe. But we all have a choice to make each and every day, and that is, how do I want to show up? What kind of person do I want to be amongst all of those things? Let's see if we can maybe keep those legs again as they are and just let them tip on over to the right. Oh, that left arm can open out to the left. I like to grab onto my left ankle with my right hand and kind of scooch it up a little closer. Something about that helps me really relax that bent knee forward. Just feels like a really nice stretch. So we can take any spinal twist that we want or need. Do I want to be this really pressured, stressed, tense, tightly coiled human as I'm going about my day? Or do I want to be easeful and in flow and relaxed and peaceful as much as I possibly can be? Even if there is a lot of chaos kind of swirling around me. I know for me it doesn't help to become part of the chaos, to get swept up in it. Let's just take one more breath here. And then as we inhale, we can make our way through center. We can uncross those legs. Feet to the earth. We'll start to stretch the right leg up to the sky now. We can take a moment to kind of move around through the ankle and toes. And then we'll cross that right ankle over the left knee. So same thing, we're gonna flex that right foot. We're gonna press the right knee forward. And this might be enough, or we might squeeze that shape in a little closer to our chest. And I like to use my elbow as like a tool here, if that works for where you're at in this shape. My elbow's right on my thigh anyway, so I can kind of think about pressing my elbow to press that knee a little more forward as I squeeze that shape in. It's like a little natural enhancement with our own body we can give ourselves. And we can always choose to be tense and pressured, right? We don't have to judge that. There's nothing wrong with that. That is a choice that we can all make, right? I want to get swept up in the chaos and I'm going to become all tense. And that is what I'm choosing, right? But it's always worth asking, like, I don't know, is that serving you? Is that serving the betterment of the world? Is that serving anyone or anything? What is the cost of maybe moving through life that way? How about one more squeeze? And as we exhale, we can release that shape. Let that figure four just kind of knock on over to the left now. I'm going to grab that right ankle with my left hand and let the right arm open to the right, maybe turning our gaze. How much can we let go just in these last couple of moments? Again, just really feeling ourselves grounded on the earth, feeling the stillness, feeling that anchored sensation, even if there is stuff swirling all around. We're like the calm center of that storm. As we inhale, we can bring those knees back up through center. We can uncross them. Let's take a reclined child's pose now. Did I make that move up? I'm not sure, but it looks like this. Probably has another name, where we're squeezing knees kind of out to the side, up and in toward our armpits. We can grab onto those shins. Think about relaxing your tailbone down to the floor as those big toes come together. So it's very much like our child's pose, but we're lying on our back. Last little release for the hips. Let's inhale, squeeze in a little bit more. And as we exhale, just extending out nice and long. Let's find a comfortable position to enjoy our final rest. We made it. We can extend arms and legs out long, or if we want to keep the knees bent, feet on the floor, that's a beautiful option too. And commit to just being here just for a little bit of time. And it's at this point we can let go of that deeper breathing even. How about with a final in-breath through the nose? And a sigh out the mouth. Please know that you can stay here as long as you want and need to. But when you're ready, we can start to reawaken, maybe just by bringing back the breath, bringing in some natural movement to the hands and feet. Might rock the head a little side to side or take that big, yummy morning stretch, everything long, fingers to toes. And then we can find a way to make it to a seat. No rush in our own time. Maybe we rock over onto one side or just kind of momentum ourselves there. And when we do land in that seated position, let's bring those palms to our heart and close the eyes.